What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate. Today, we're back with another Week 5 preview and prediction video. And this game, man, have we seen these two teams play in some instant classics over the past couple of years. Are the LSU Tigers going to start a win streak within the series? Or are the Ole Miss Rebels going to use their surprise weapon in the quarterback room and utilize him to take off and start to build a good conversation for a college football playoff run? My name is Nate Pope, otherwise known as Tailgate Nate. I'm a sports media graduate with a massive passion for everything going on in the world of sports, especially the world of college football. So if you want to help support me on this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you're locked into everything I got going on the channel this college football season, if you haven't done so already. And follow me on social media to join me in my journey in sports media. I want to get as high as I can in the professional ranks, and you can follow me at TailgateNate29, Twitter, Instagram, and wherever else you like to peruse the socials. Let's start diving on in and talking about this one from Oxford, Mississippi, and I want to start on the side of the Ole Miss Rebels. Austin Simmons has had some injury problems, and you've seen Trinidad Chambliss start over the past couple of games. Well, for those of you that may not have been paying attention to Ole Miss up until this point, they've played two pretty decent teams since Chambliss took over as the starting quarterback, right? And he's really taken a surprising, massive command of this offense, and Ole Miss looks really, really good with him at the helm. Here's what Chambliss did, or Chambliss, however you pronounce the last name. I'm going to go with Chambliss. If it's wrong, then I'll be wrong the entire video. I'm not going to switch back and forth between the pronunciations. But here's what Trinidad has done since he's been quarterback at Ole Miss. Starting quarterback, that is. 353 yards and a touchdown through the air in an offensive shootout against Arkansas. 62 yards on 15 carries and 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. Here's what he did against Tulane. He had 307 yards and 2 touchdowns on 17 of 27 for completion, 17 of 27 passing, and 112 yards on 14 carries on the ground. And make no mistake, this might seem like it's coming out of nowhere, like, oh my goodness, who is this guy? I was fortunate enough to go to a D2 college, and I pay attention to the D2 ranks. He's a Ferris State transfer who is a D2 powerhouse, and he was doing all the same things over with the D2 powerhouse Bulldogs. He was doing all of the same things. He was throwing the football effectively, running the football effectively. So this is nothing new for Chaz Chambliss. What is going to be new for him is the caliber of defense. Sorry, not caliper. That's a part on your car. The caliber of defense that he is going to be playing here in this game. He has not seen anything like this LSU defense, and what Blake Baker has done with this unit has been masterful. Now, is Tulane a pretty solid defense? Yeah. Is Arkansas? Not necessarily. Tulane, though, they got themselves a pretty solid defensive group, and they're coached well by John Summerall, and the offense torched them. They torched Tulane this past week. I don't think it's going to be the same story when you play against this LSU defense. More on them in 1 second. But let's talk about this LSU offense. Garrett Nussmeier has been phenomenal so far. He's looked like one of the better quarterbacks in the country up to this point. And I had mentioned this point in a previous video, but to me, he's still doing a little bit too much. And I think they're relying on Garrett Nussmeier just a little bit more than what they need to be, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. And sure, the touchdown-interception ratio can absolutely look a whole lot better. He's got 6 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and he's already nearly at 1,000 yards passing, 962 yards to be exact. But for Garrett Nussmeier, you can put the ball in his hands 35 to 40, 45 times a game, and LSU is going to go win a lot of football games. They have a very talented wide receiver room, but I think they really got to get this run game going because that's where the rubber is going to meet the road here. This is an LSU team that is going to have their moments throwing the football. Absolutely. But at some point, you've got to be able to get this run game, not necessarily going, but just more involved in this offense. Caden Durham has been pretty good so far this year. 213 yards on 52 carries. For you math nerds, that's 4.1 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. Okay, again, it's not lacking. It's not horrible, but you definitely can get it going a little bit more. And I think this is a great opportunity to do it. Keep this Ole Miss defense that's taken a step back from where it was last year. It absolutely has. It's taken a step back. and be able to get this Ole Miss defense on their heels and mix in this run game. Caden Durham is a really explosive back, and I've been a little surprised that they aren't taking, or not necessarily taking, but not utilizing him more within this offense. Now I get it, right? Garrett Nussmeier is a good quarterback. He's got weapon after weapon after weapon, NFL talent after NFL talent that's in this pass catching room. But I think you're going to have to try to push Caden Durham out into the, not necessarily into the fire because he's a sophomore. He did this last year, but you got to be able to push him out into the spotlight a little bit more. Caden Durham's a good player. Let him shine a little bit more. Defensively for both teams, I'm going to start with LSU because, again, the Trinidad Chambliss has just simply not faced a defense like what LSU is going to throw at them. And Blake Baker has been phenomenal this year. Whit Weeks, Harold Perkins, Devon Keys, all those guys in the second level of this defense, I mean, they just attack you. They are ferocious. They are ridiculous. Now, the one thing that LSU maybe can ramp up a little bit more is their sack production. They do have 11 sacks through 4 games. That's not even 3 sacks per game. So maybe you want to see that ramp up a little bit more. But overall, this secondary has been really good. Already 20 passes defended with 6 interceptions through the first 4 games. Those are some pretty good numbers. You got a lot of guys on the defensive front that are playing well. But that linebacking unit, man, it's one of, if not the most impressive units in the country. And it's going to make things really hard for Chambliss to do everything he normally wants to do, right? I think this is a linebacking unit that's going to do a very good job at being able to contain what Chambliss wants to do running the football, and the secondary is absolutely talented enough to defend what Ole Miss has got weapon-wise. So that's a big early key, and look, if the defense can force a stop or a takeaway early here and get up 2 scores early, I'm not going to say it's wraps because it's the SEC and it's college football. Anything can happen. But LSU gets up 2 scores early, say 14 to nothing or 21-7 or something like that. I think it's going to be really hard for this Ole Miss defense to settle in and make some stops and come back. But what I will say about the Ole Miss defense, yes, they've taken a step back from last year. There are still a lot of good players on this team, and I think if they win 2 specific categories, they're going to put themselves in the good position to go ahead and win this game. And I think that's third downs, and I think that's turnovers. They have got to force a turnover, or at very least some short drives out of this LSU team, generate those negative plays, and LSU is going to be in third and manageable from what I would gather and assume probably for the majority of this game. I would think LSU is in that third and short to third and manageable range just with the way that they run their offense. Push that back to third and long, man, or at very least get them into the third and manageables and then just play good coverage, play good defense. But the turnover battle, third downs, I think those are both huge keys for Ole Miss in this game because you have to find a way to get this LSU offense out of system, out of sorts. You have got to find a way to disrupt Nussmeier getting the ball to these wide receivers. This is one of the fastest teams in college football, and that extends to Caden Durham in the backfield. This team has got speed up and down the yard. It is ridiculous how fast this team is. You've got to throw off their rhythm at some point. Force the early turnover, get this crowd engaged, get some big third down stops, something that's not on there, generate those tackles for loss, and you're going to end up being fine. But the one thing that Ole Miss cannot do is let LSU control the pace. If Ole Miss is a team that's going to control the pace here, and really the only way that I can wrap my head around Ole Miss doing that and controlling the pace is, well, they're going to be more comfortable in an offensive shootout. If this turns into a defensive game, I'll tell you right now who wins. But Chambliss, again, however you pronounce the last name, Trinidad has looked so good at the quarterback position, and even these LSU linebackers might have a little trouble here and there in being able to try to defend him and contain him and limit what Chambliss wants to do for this offense. So the only way that I can see Ole Miss really dictating the pace here is if they get LSU off rhythm. And they're forcing LSU to take some deep shots. And Ole Miss is just bam, explosive play, bam, explosive play, bam, explosive play. That's really the way that I see Ole Miss controlling the pace of this game. And even then, I still like the Tigers' chances in a shootout because of the Ole Miss defense taking a step back, and because the Tiger defense, I think, is more likely to do what I think is more necessary for Ole Miss, and that's force the early turnover, win the third down battle, get the other team off schedule, generate pressure. I think LSU has got the better defensive front and linebacking unit, maybe even the better secondary as well. I just think LSU has got more advantages across the field, even with how well Chambliss has played. They have the quarterback advantage in Garrett Nussmeier, and I think they have the talent edge on the outside as well. Just a lot leaning the way of the Tigers for me. And so that's why I'm going to go with LSU in this game. Would it surprise me to see Ole Miss win this one? No, not at all. Walking into last year when LSU was a little down, we kind of thought, okay, Ole Miss has got a pretty good shot to go on the road and get this game. Psych, LSU ends up winning it in overtime. Same thing the year prior. So on and so forth. Home team has won the past 5 meetings, but I think that changes here, and LSU starts a win streak in this series. Gonna be a little bit of an offensive game. In fact, it could not even be a little bit, it could be a lot of bit of an offensive game. I think both of these defenses are going to make some solid plays, but overall, LSU is just going to be too much to handle. I think their defense is too much, the offense is too much, and LSU comes out on top in Oxford. Let me know what you guys think about this one, though, in the comment section below. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder, and I'll see all y'all in the next video. Goodbye.